Here we go.
I'm happy to tell you there's very little in this world that I believe in. Listening to the comedians who comment on political, social, and cultural issues, I notice that most of their material reflects kind of an underlying belief that somehow things were better once, and with just a little effort we could set them right again. They're looking for solutions and rooting for particular results, and I think that limits the tone and substance of what they say.
Who wrestle with a chilling realization that there is in fact no preordained meaning in life. We're just biological matter spinning senselessly on a tiny rock in a corner of an indifferent universe. We were not put here by a benevolent deity and asked to work towards salvation in the shape of the Ten Commandments. There's no roadmap and no bigger point. And it's this realization that lies at the heart of so many of the crises reported by the thinkers we now know as the
existentialists.
Take my side because I'm a hero, Morty. Now you're gonna have to go and do whatever I say, Morty, forever. And I'll go out and I'll find some more of that Mulan Szechaun teriyaki dipping sauce, Morty. Because that's what this is all about, Morty. That's my one-armed man. I'm not driven by avenging my dead family, Morty. That was fake. I'm driven by finding that McNugget sauce. I want that Mulan McNugget sauce, Morty. That's my series arc, Morty. If it takes 9 seasons,
I want my Mulan Szechuan dipping sauce. So we just did about 1 minute and 30 seconds, and 90 seconds, a crash course in absurdism and existentialism. The meaning, where is it? If God isn't real and there's no objective morality, what the hell are we even doing here? Should we all just kill ourselves? Is life even worth living? Let me tell you what you are. You're a brain state. Beyond the hierarchy of needs, when you got your food and your water and your shelter and possibly even your sex and your companionship, you find yourself too smart for your own good. With your gigantic temporal lobe, you tailless monkey, wander through life realizing that once these artificially created standards of meaning and these value systems have disappeared, what is there left to do? Once social justice warrior bashing gets old and Christianity long lays dead and in the wastes of YouTube, where does the skeptic go from here? Oh, I don't even care about Trump. I'm just so tired. Well, why do I keep making videos? Because I like them. I have fun. You know what fun is? It's serotonin and dopamine in my monkey brain. And sometimes even I make them because I'm angry. And you know what angry does? It doesn't just build up cortisol, which is stressful and unpleasant, but it makes me feel alive. It even can give me a little bit of an adrenaline rush, and I might start spraying spittle and raging at my fucking little camera here. One of the things that I found that I used to think was a valuable idea, and still do to a smaller extent, happens to be a very severe handicap on all of us as human beings, as YouTubers in the skeptic community, and that is the idea of the solution-focused action, solution-focused content. And I think this brevity, this feeling of despair, is coming from a lack of a solution. Well, let me tell you that I don't believe a solution is necessary. I don't think it's necessarily my responsibility to find your solution or to present your solution. I think there are better, smarter, faster, more righteous human beings than me that will figure that out. But I know something that I can do. I don't need to know how to build a car to tell you when a car won't go. I don't need to know how to coach football to tell you when a team sucks. I don't need a master's or a doctorate in philosophy in order to tell you what philosophies are garbage. And I take pride in taking out the trash. So though you may have seen some YouTubers start to sort of wallow in kind of be really confused and to go through these growth stages and new possible renaissances or degradations and de-evolutions of their content, I've had the same wonders and felt the same despairs. But then, every day, something comes along that I just feel I have to talk about. And every day, just a few more people find it interesting. Some of them fucking hate it, but all of them are interested in engaging, even if it's just to leave a dislike. Honestly, a lot of times on my least popular videos, which almost always have a very competitive like-dislike ratio to the point where I have very few that are past 55 to 60% in the dislike ratio, what disappoints me is how little angry comments I get that argue with me. And I think that's just a consequence of not having a viewership large enough to start getting the smarty pants to come in and give me the Devin treatment, which I would rather appreciate, unlike Devin. I get a lot of pats on the back, and sometimes I get a little bit of engagement, but a lot of the time somebody just comments on the fact that I have braces and I'm 29 years old. Well, would you rather I have fucked up teeth? Okay? Braces don't mean anything. And I have worn these fucking things for like 2.5 years because my teeth were that bad. Go watch my fucking 2012, 2013 content. And I've long since stopped feeling even the slightest drop of shame. I laugh when people comment on my braces. And yes, someday they will be off and I will lose the lisp and it'll be fantastic and I'll be all the more entertaining and watchable as my hairline recedes just in time for my teeth to be straight. And all of that doesn't mean anything. But you know what I think means even less? Idealism. The people who make me the most angry aren't necessarily certain political people, certain philosophical people. It's not necessarily the feminists. It's not necessarily the right or the left wing. It's the idealists. The people who say there is a right way to go, and anybody who is categorically apart from my idea of the right way to go is Satan. The fucking partisan hacks, to use a more layman's term. I hate them. Because the more and more honest I am with myself, the more and more gray truth becomes, and the more dispersed what I think is at least a positive change of direction goes between different philosophies and different authoritarian or libertarian and different right and left. And I find that the only people who are absolutely categorically wrong are partisan hacks, fanboys. And they are the people who make me fucking angry. Because these people think that there's a horse in the race to cheer on and everything would just be fine if their horse took first place. And they would be wrong every day of the week, every minute of the hour, every plank fucking length of time, picosecond or whatever. They're wrong. The truth is diffuse and disperse and difficult to find. And the thing is, truth isn't ideal in and of itself. In fact, there is no truth. There is only truer and falser. Okay? Beyond axiomatic logical epistemology, which is most things, but far off beyond the rings of Saturn lies morality, ethics, and greater philosophy. And I find more in common with such absurdists who find themselves in the pit of despair. And I believe it was Albert Camus who said that the absurd hero is the man who can recognize the futility and meaningless of everything and then find happiness. I've often said that the greatest piece of wisdom I ever found in a film was simply the statement from Terminator 2: Judgment Day. There is no fate but what we make for ourselves. There is no meaning but what you create for yourself. And the real futility is in the sort of idea that there is any sort of better meaning than that. Now, when we start talking in terms of greater society instead of individuals, these meanings and principles and values will begin to compete, and then the feeling of despair will repeat itself. But I wasn't necessarily telling you to look for truth. I wasn't necessarily telling you to look for value or meaning. I was telling you to find happiness. And I find happiness in the most frivolous of things. Video games, calling people faggots on the internet. And those are base and vulgar, and they make me happy. And somehow, I'm not sitting here in the midst of the adpocalypse and in the SJW epoch, and I can get angry, and I can get happy, and I can get depressed, and sometimes I feel like I have a little bit of edge in combating depression because I've lived with it my whole life, and I know what it feels like to feel depressed for no fucking reason. And in that, you can find a state of detachment and say, this isn't real depression, fuck you, I'm not going to participate in you, I'm not going to wallow in you, I'm not going to start counting my curses. I'm going to go play video games. I'm going to go call people faggots on the internet. And I'm going to be happy. Good luck.